Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Ryan.
Good evening. Welcome to the 2015 Jane Jacobs Forum. Tonight's program is hosted by the MAS Urbanists, and the Urbanists are a group of early to mid-career young professionals who care deeply about the future of our city. We gather at networking events like our Urbanist Insider event that's on the slide behind me, and at more programmatic events like tonight. By show of hands, who here is an Urbanist member? Higher? All right, for the rest of you, you look like fun people, so I just want to encourage you to check out mas.org/urbanist and consider joining us as a member. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and with that, I'm going to leave you with a video about the lady of the hour herself, Miss Jane Jacobs.
Cities have been around a long time. They have worked reasonably well, socially and economically. That's what needs to be studied. That's what needs to be observed. Progress on the part of the population is reflected in the neighborhood.
Jane Jacobs inspired me to think about cities as a collective community of neighborhoods.
Made me rethink design in terms of pedestrian experience.
Her legacy has meant that more people now feel that they have the rights and the ability to have an impact on how their city is run.
So she stood up for what she believed in, and I really admire that.
She sharply focused on the fact that cities are made of social and civic life, and that she strongly challenged any attempt that began to subvert this fact.
The kind of mind I have is basically a scientific one. I respect observation and experiment. The greatest asset that a city neighborhood can have is something that's different from every other place.
So this is the post office of Singapore, and they've kept the building as is. In addition to that, another Jane Jacobs feature in this part of Singapore is the walkability part of it.
Jane's Walks are offered all over the world, local residents sharing what they know about their city with other people. So it's an opportunity to explore and discover things.
Streets are the most important thing in a city. The more you watch, the more interesting and amazing connections you saw.
Being out among strangers creates a kind of privacy through anonymity. And that privacy, when combined with the unscripted, that creates a kind of freedom.
The object is to nurture locales where people on foot will naturally encounter one another.
Aloha. This area represents a lot of the things that Jane Jacobs is all about, particularly the mix of old and new, short walkable blocks, and the need for diversity.
Every time you walk a little way, you're having a new experience. It isn't dull. It isn't routine. This is what a city ought to be.
This building was abandoned a few months ago, and now it's back to life. And we truly think that Jane will love that.
Solutions to city problems come from people who understand the problems firsthand and who have new and ingenious offbeat ideas.
We will remember Jane Jacobs forever.
Happy birthday from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for whacking some sense into those modernist wackos.
Happy birthday, Jane!
Happy birthday, Jane!
The legacy that you have left behind in Toronto and many cities across the world is unparalleled, so you go, girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mary Rowe.
Thank you. I'm just wondering what Jane would have thought if someone had said, "You go, girl." You know, isn't that great? Yeah, it's great. Wonderful to see that, and wonderful to see all our partners, or not all, but many of our partners around the world who are interested, as we are, in celebrating Jane's birthday. So the reason that we're talking to you about this is because, well, first of all, welcome to the annual Jane Jacobs Forum that we've been doing. I think this is our 6th, and we have historically done it in conjunction with the Jane Jacobs Medal, which the Rockefeller Foundation has traditionally bestowed upon a New Yorker, but they are on hiatus this year, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. But we continue with these forums because they give us a really great opportunity to talk with people and to hear from people their different perspectives about the legacy of Jane Jacobs. But what you saw there is that next year is her 100th birthday. So if she were still alive, she'd be turning 100 in 2016 because she was born in 1916. And we think it's an extraordinary opportunity for all of us that are engaged in building cities in a Jacobsian way to highlight and share with each other all the different things that we're doing and that we're aware of that magnify her ideas and really reinforce the things that she was so prescient in observing when she started writing about this in the 1950s and 60s. And so we have produced that, and we're going to continue to build that video again and again and continue to add content. And the idea is that this will self-organize, and that over 6 months next year, we'll invite partners around the world to just tell us, what are you going to do? What kinds of things are you already planning, or might you consider planning, that would celebrate her legacy, to try to, as I suggest, aggregate up and really show the world what sustainable city building can look like. And it will start in April, we think, because there's a documentary that's being made about Jane. Many of you may be aware of it, and it will be ready to be screened. And so we think that we're hoping that it will debut here in New York, probably in Toronto, as soon as the 2 cities that she spent most of her life in April of next year. And then we thought we'd kick it up with that. And then in the early May, we do Jane's Walk Around the World. 190 cities did it this year. Not that we're boasting, but New York had more Jane's Walks in this city than any other city in the world. Sorry about that, Toronto. And so we're going to do that again here, but many, many other cities will do that. And then what we anticipate is that all sorts of organizations are going to do it, and individuals are going to mount different kinds of things through the whole summer period and into the fall. And we've created a website, which I bet Alex will put up on the screen, or he'll show what the splash page looks like. We're creating a website so that everybody can share their ideas, and we can all riff off each other and get inspired. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, through that whole summer and fall period. And then in October 2016, the world will gather in Rio for UN Habitat's. Every 2 decades, they run a big thing on urbanization called Habitat, and this one is called Habitat 3. And at that Habitat 3, we hope to have a fabulous focus on Jacobsian approaches to city building. And you heard it here first. We anticipate that the Rockefeller Foundation will award its first international Jane Jacobs Medal. So that will be how we'll finish that sort of 6-month period. So I want the house lights to come up for a second, and I want people to give me some ideas and just suggestions right off the bat. When you think of Jane, thank you. When you think of Jane Jacobs, give me some words about what you understand a Jacobsian city to be. Just give me a word. Visionary. What else? Say it again. Walkable. Well, walkable. Yes. What else? Public. Accessible. Yeah. What else?
Not the New York Times building.
Not this building. Not this building. Okay, so what do you mean? What, as opposed to then, give me an example of a building that would be.
The other contributors had suggested.
Right, okay. You mean public, you mean, yeah, okay. Community. Neighborhoods. Diversity. Human scale. Yeah.
Tapestry of people's lives.
That's more than one word, Matt, but I'll let you away with it. Tapestry of people's lives, a sort of weaving. Yeah, what else? Other Walk? Yeah. Sidewalks. Yeah, very important. Other Jacobsian concepts. Courage. You're talking about her personally, right? Yeah. Benches. Yeah, places to sit. You're awfully young to be looking for benches, but I get that. I appreciate you suggesting we need benches at my age. Other words, other things that... Broken windows. What do you mean? I know what you mean, but I want everybody else to know what you mean.
The concept of decrepit
Right. So I'll just paraphrase, hope I do it okay. Broken windows has come to mean, as often the case is, a word or a phrase gets introduced into the lexicon, and then before you know it, it gets to mean something else. We're watching that happen, I think, with resilience right this minute. But broken windows, that sort of happens. Some people understand, I see you, I'll get to you. Some people understand broken windows being something more draconian. But when broken windows was first introduced, it was that a neighborhood that is attending to smaller challenges and taking the care to address a smaller challenge creates a kind of viral, higher value, and people put more into their neighborhood. How's that? How am I doing? That's how the Kellings wrote about it when they first did. Okay, other concepts. Yes, yes. Okay, in the middle. Yep, go.
Street ballet.
Street ballet, beside you. Anti-Moses. Only New Yorkers say that, you know. The rest of the world doesn't even know who he was. Okay, back there. Say it again. Affordable. Yeah. You mean sort of inclusive, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bicycles and dogs.
Bicycles and dogs. Yeah, now I know you're getting into your wish list, but just try to, which is good, because she was about that, but just try to hone in on the Jacob stuff. Yep. Yes, sir.
Mixed use.
Mixed use, yeah.
Short blocks.
Short blocks.
Monitoring.
Monitoring? That sounds a bit creepy. What do you mean? Oh, yes, yes. Absolutely. So not Big Brother monitoring, but observation, paying attention. Absolutely, yes. Yes, not infected by cars, no judgment there, and a public transportation. Yes, behind you, yeah. Yes. Meetings. Yeah, she was a lot about meetings. You're absolutely right, yeah.
Social equity.
Social equity, absolutely. Yep. Okay, yes. Yep, okay, go ahead. Okay, at the front first. Agglomeration meaning? You read the other books. That's good. You kept reading. I always tease Americans, you forgot to read after 1961. She wrote 5 more books, maybe 6, right? Okay, agglomeration, economies, yes. Behind you, yes. Ownership. Yeah, you mean of neighborhoods? Yeah, 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 yeah. Ownership and having a stake in things, yeah. Mm-hmm. Front porches, yeah. Eyes on the street, yes.
Public characters.
Public character, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Highland, yeah. Transparency, yes, to be able to see things, yeah. Anybody else? You're doing? Say it again.
Historical preservation.
Historical preservation, yes, at the back, a few more. Context? Contact. I like both. Context and contact. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, hi, Scott.
Culture versus bureaucracy.
Culture versus bureaucracy. You mean like preferred one over the other? Right, okay. Right. Culture's better. Yeah. Okay. With all due respect to the bureaucrats in the room. Yes.
Serendipity and eccentricity.
Yeah, absolutely. Serendipity and eccentricity, along with that public character piece. So isn't this fabulous that we can celebrate the legacy of a person with so many shared concepts, that so much of what she did was exposed to us things that we instinctively know to be true. And I think that's one of the wonderful things why these books and her ideas last and last, they endure. There aren't many books that we continue to read decades after they've been published, but one of the reasons is because of her method, that she was very, as was suggested over here, very, as you heard in the video, scientific, interested in observation. And if you think of the time when she was writing those initial thoughts in the 50s and 60s, cities in many places were seen as problems. There were aspects of city life that people didn't like. And lots of people, one of whom you mentioned a moment ago, thought that we should fix cities. But if you read chapter 22 in Death and Life, she talks about the kind of problem a city is. And she made the point that if you actually look at what's going on in a city, and you actually observe what's working, you will learn a lot more than if you stand at a distance and judge it. And I think the reason that this festival next year is so important to us is because much is happening around the world as cities get built in other places, particularly in the Southern Hemisphere. And there's that tendency to try to create large, big systems that are going to solve all the problems of cities, as opposed to what you heard some of our folks talking about in Mumbai and Rio, celebrating what's actually there, the fabric that's there, and building upon it and strengthening it. So it's very important that we really continue to talk with one another and promote these ideas and share our experiences in the cities in which we live with each other. And we can hopefully continue to persuade folks that may be on the other side, thinking that cities need to still be fixed or that they need to be overly controlled. I think there's lots and lots of discussion that we can continue to have, but that's what next year will be about. So tonight, the 2015 Jane Jacobs Forum. We are so fortunate to have some really, really fabulous folks who are going to talk to us about their experience of the city based on that Jacobsian principle of observation. And what they're going to do is share with us the experience that they have, not just with eyes on the street, but their other ways of sensing the city. And if we think of Jacobs as being fundamentally about our experience, our sensory experience of the city, that's which each of these presenters are going to talk to us about. So they're each going to give a little talk. They're going to then join me, and we're going to have a little chat amongst us, and then we'll open the floor. And because you're all so shy, there probably won't be a single question, I suspect, but we're going to have a nice, lively conversation. So